What's going on, everyone? Good afternoon. Happy Monday. Just heading back to the clinic right now. I took a few minutes out to go do some work in a different environment. Just had a call with a doctor on the phone, talking about some implementation stuff. And I thought I would talk about something that is, and I brought this up today with my office manager. We were talking about this. I was sharing how I used to deal with things in the past and how it didn't work very well. In hindsight, I can look back and I can see how dysfunctional it was. And I'm just curious if any of you deal with stuff like this or have in the past, or maybe this will help give you some insight, or you can share something as far as what you found to be really beneficial. But here's what I used to do. Okay. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist in a way. I don't know if you follow my stuff and you know what we're about. You're going to be like, really? Really? A perfectionist? Never picked up on that. But a little bit of a perfectionist to the point where I try not to get neurotic about things that I feel like need to be done a certain way. And in the past, what I used to do, real time, middle of a shift, if one of my team didn't do something, like it wasn't done on time, like let's say an x-ray wasn't marked the right way, or something wasn't prepared the right way, and I have all these systems in my mind and they have to be done, to a certain level, I'd have like a mini explosion inside, and I would have to stop what I'm doing, or at least finish with that patient, stop what I'm doing after that, go get it fixed up, even if it set me back in the schedule a little bit, just so I had the peace of mind knowing that it was done right. But also, I think subconsciously, it was a way of setting a precedence, so the rest of the team saw, oh, it has to be done right, and if not, he's going to stop and do it right, so we better make sure that we're doing it right. Maybe that's what I thought was happening in my mind by doing that, when in reality what I was doing was just creating bad energy and chaos and stress for myself and stress for my team. And at the end of the day, it wasn't a good decision on my part. I can reflect on that and know that was part of my growth process. Was I didn't recognize at the time that I shouldn't be doing that, because again, I thought, well, this will set a precedence and it'll show that I'm firm at what I say and what I do, and I practice what I preach, and if it's not done right, I'll just do it myself. That is a self-defeating attitude that will not really last all that long as far as keeping your sanity together, and it drives everyone crazy around you. It drives you crazy. It's a lose-lose situation. So what I do now, and advice that I would give for someone else, is that, truth be told, I still have those tendencies. I still want things to be done a certain way. I know how things need to be done. I'm very much a systems-oriented kind of person. But now I'm a lot more relaxed about it, in that I know it's not going to make sense to do something in the middle of a shift. It's not going to make sense to derail current processes to fix some little detail that maybe wasn't done right. And I just accept that there's going to be a certain amount of stuff every single day, every single shift, that's not going to be done perfectly right. And that's okay. In the whole scheme of things, it doesn't really affect the operation all that much, because so many things are being done right, and so many systems in place are so awesome compared to what, not having systems, or what most people out there do in their clinics, that we're way ahead of the game. And you're never going to get 100% on a daily basis. And if you feel like you have to, and if you don't, you're defeated, you're going to have a very disappointing life. So now what I do is, if it's important enough that I take note of it and I want to make sure that I handle it later, I make a little note at that moment. So let's say something happens where there's something that wasn't documented properly, or an x-ray was marked improperly that we need to, put back in, or something wasn't organized inside of a patient file, just make a little note. Make a little note, and it's out of your mind. You keep seeing your patients, the operations of the clinic, which are time sensitive because patients are in there and it's their time, it's your time. You're trying to see them in a timely fashion. You just keep going forward, but you make a note for later to say, I'm going to handle that later on downtime, when it's not uptime, which is like when everyone's, in the mix, when you're doing the dance of seeing your patients and they're going through and getting the services, and your staff is doing all the stuff they should be doing. So maybe if you miss something as a doctor, or if your staff missed something and you want to talk about it later in training, make a note. Once you make a note, let it leave your mind, have that sense of peace that you have a mission right now, which is to finish your shift impactfully, help every single person that's come in there. And you'll handle those little details after the fact, and you'll keep refining, And that's what we've done. And we've tried to refine systems so that although we have many steps of our systems, because we have a fairly, in-depth type of practice. I don't want to say complicated. It's complex, but that's also a extreme dichotomy. It has to be simple, but not so simple that you're cutting corners. So we have steps. We have a methodical process, and if all those steps are being handled, at least the majority of them being handled, things go quite smoothly. And when things are not done exactly as they need to be done, you just take note. You handle it during downtime. Life goes on. And guess what? You still got a team. Everyone's happy and healthy, and everyone's working together for that common goal. Those are things to remind yourself of when you're feeling stressed out in certain instances. Take a breath. Breathing's very important. That's something I catch myself doing on a daily basis. It's a healthy thing to do. Sometimes we forget to breathe. We're shallow breathing all day long. Breathe in 3 seconds in through your nose, 6 seconds out through your nose, and then try holding your breath for 3 seconds and repeat that and slow down your process in your body and your brain. Do that for 5 or 6 breaths in a row. You can try that. The 3-6-3. So 3 in, 6 out, 3 pause, breathe again. Try that. If that's too anxiety producing for you of holding your breath, then just go like 3 seconds in and 5 seconds out. Try to get more breath out than you get in. And that's usually a pretty good way to get yourself to recenter. So anyway, just wanted to share that. I think that's an important concept that we don't talk about, or a topic that we don't talk about enough, as far as how do you handle things when they're not totally perfect. If you're a perfectionist like me, that's how I'd recommend handling it. Share below what you do in your practice to help you get through some of those less than perfect times. And if you want to see how all the systems come together, check out the demo.movenowyou.com, and you'll see a 30-minute pre-recorded video of how all of our systems work together, including, the policies and the procedures and the forms and the communication, and because all of that is what makes things flow beautifully, and not perfectly, but pretty close to it. With that said, have a great day. Over and out. Got to go see patients.